everyone, Rae here, coming off of a flu after Klexicon 2019, which was amazing. This is an interview I've had in my back pocket for a while with the amazing Dana Piccoli, and you should absolutely listen to it, even though we have a couple hiss and pop issues with the quality. Zencaster decided to be annoying about it, but the enthusiasm and the wisdom of this particular interview are just so great, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Thanks. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lesbian Talk Shows for Love and Money. I'm your host, Rae Magden, and today we have an interesting guest with a different sort of background than we usually have on the show. Dana Piccoli is a pop culture and entertainment writer and a great convention panelist and moderator, and she has her debut novel coming out, so I'm really excited to talk to her about her plans for marketing it. Hey, Dana, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Rae.
I'm super excited to talk to you because you come from a bit of a different world than a lot of my guests, and I like to get the variety. So you're a pop culture and entertainment writer and critic. How did you get into that from a queer point of view?
Because I used to write songs about Pretty Little Liars. I've always been a big fan, so I've always been really interested in television and movies. And I one day decided that I would just kind of start writing down these funny, goofy songs that I had in my head about Pretty Little Liars, which at the time was my favorite show. And within a day, that particular song, which was called The Ballad of Rosewood, got picked up by the Alloy Entertainment site, which owns Pretty Little Liars, and it got picked up by After Ellen at the time, and then within a few weeks, I was vlogging for After Ellen, and then soon after that, I started writing, and I've been writing ever since. And now I am the editor and chief writer for the blog at Bella Books.
That's actually where I first encountered you, is your relationship with Bella Books, and also at Klexicon. You're a pretty large moderator presence there, and you do the podcast for Klexicon too, right?
Yes, I host Unconventional, and it's basically all about Klexicon, and we have different themes for each episode, different guests. It's a lot of fun, and I've had really wonderful responses to it, and people tell me that it really helps them get prepared to go to Klexicon, and it's also great for Klexicants who aren't able to attend but get a chance to have, some sort of little back and forth with some of their favorite creators and guests.
That's amazing because everybody I know loves Klexicon as a queer convention. It's like the place to go, and I loved my experience last year, but we're a bunch of young poor people, a lot of us, so we can't always go. So to bring a little bit of the con into someone's daily life without them having to go all the way to Las Vegas, I think that's a public service, to be honest.
And Klexicon is really good about putting a lot of their panels on YouTube as well. And I've met so many people who've said, I didn't know who you were until I saw your Way Hot panel or your Lost Girl panel or whatever on YouTube. So I've met a lot of people through that too. And so it's cool because you can't attend, at least you can be part of the party shortly thereafter.
It's also really useful for me because sometimes I'm on a panel and then I want to go see someone else's panel. So I missed the Way Hot panel last year because I was speaking somewhere else. So I got to see the video and I was really appreciative of that. So you started out as a pop culture and entertainment critic on that side of things, and you're making kind of a shifting career to publish your first debut novel with Bella Books, Savor the Moment. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So Savor the Moment was this idea I just had driving to Michigan from New York. Lots of boring scenery. My wife was asleep. And suddenly I just started dreaming up these characters. And I have a degree in musical theater. I have a past experience as a vocalist, a professional vocalist and performer. And so a little bit of Nat's inspiration, Natalia Chambers, who's the lead character in Savor the Moment, came from my experience in that world. And the rest just kind of all fell out of my head. I wanted Natalia to be a musician. I didn't really want her to be anything like me, but I I knew kind of how that world worked. And it was also important to me that she wasn't some sort of big superstar. And I know that's the very common thing. And in romance, you kind of want to take yourself away, and it's cool to, go into, super fantastical worlds. But I really wanted her to be very grounded in the profession and in working hard to rise up in it. And so, I think I was always inspired by the musicians whose music pops up on Grey's Anatomy. And so I kind of built her success on having one of her songs chosen as the theme song for a very kind of Grey's Anatomy type of show.
Wow, that if you hadn't sold me before, that really did because I have a background in the music industry as well, and I find it really relatable. Okay, so aside from Natalia, who are the other characters in the book?
So Natalia's love interest is Madeline, or Maddie, as her friends call her, LeDuc. And Maddie is a pastry chef, which is a world that has always really fascinated me and interested me. And she's doing really well at a very popular restaurant in New York City. She's trained in France, which you get to read about in the book. And they have a very unique kind of meet cute. And I just always really liked the thought of them meeting in that way. And I don't want to spoil it, but it's something that I think is very relatable. And I love a little bit of awkwardness in a person. And I wanted Nat to have this smooth, kind of cool, charming career, but also to kind of just be a little bit of an awkward dork at times.
I mean, I'll be real. I don't know any queer people that aren't awkward dorks, so I think that makes the book all the more realistic in my view.
uh,
Right?
right. And so there's non-binary characters, there's trans characters, and a majority of the cast are queer people of color, or just I really, it was important to me that the book reflected the community in which I exist, and that is very much the community I exist in.
That's so amazing. A lot of times in lesfic, it does have a tendency once in a while to be very, lesbian centric and white centric, and some of those books are very nice. But I mean, there's so much more out there, and like, it's so exciting to meet an author who's willing to, include some of the supporting characters who might be gay men or who might be trans or non-binary. That's so great. I'm so excited now.
Oh, thank you. And my lead character, Natalia, she is her mom's Brazilian, and so the reason I did that is twofold. I wanted Natalia to be Brazilian because a lot of the people that I interact with online and who have taught me a tremendous amount about representation and my own privilege as a person in the United States have been from Brazil. And so I have a tremendous amount of respect and appreciation for what I have learned and experienced with on that side of things. And also, my mom has always been she's always loved everything Brazilian. No, she's not Brazilian herself, but this is a little bit of an homage to her as well, to incorporate her love of the Brazilian culture and have that be Nat's background. And I was really I'm excited about that, and I hope people enjoy that part. And it's just kind of like a special thing for two important parts of my life.
You're listening to The Lesbian Talk Show. TheLesbianTalkShow.com, your hub of podcast information.
Okay, so this is your first fictional novel, but you have lots of other writing published in other venues. What experience and knowledge are you taking from that in order to promote your first book?
Well, I'm very lucky that I have built a really, I think I'd like to say, robust social media following over the last few years. And I don't think I'd feel nearly as comfortable at bringing this book into the world if it weren't for these amazing people that have supported me online all these years. And I think that's certainly a big help when you are bringing something into the world like this. And I think because I'm also in the world of entertainment, the people that follow me or that I follow, we all are very interested in queer stories. And so I wanted to, I have a tremendous amount of respect for fan fiction. I know how important that has been and life changing for so many people. And because I work in that world, I tend to not do fan fiction because I, work in the entertainment sphere. But I love it and I read it. But I wanted to bring a new story, like a completely original story, into existence. And I'm so glad that the people that I've, made connections with over the years have supported that. And I asked before I even delved into this, like, what do you think about this? Should I do this? And everyone is very clear about wanting new stories and fun, exciting, love, happy, all those sorts of things. And so I'm hoping that Savor the Moment is able to tap into that. I really wanted it to be in the rom-com, vein. It's got a lot of serious elements. There are some major things to deal with, but it's also very back and forth. I don't know about you, Rae, but like I grew up in the Joss Whedon, Amy Sherman Palladino, like back and forth, kind of dialogue thing, and I really wanted these characters to talk like people that I know in real life, and so I hope that humor and that spirit comes through.
The banter, yeah, I'm old enough, not to age myself, but I'm old enough to know what you're talking about. Um, so I too am from the world of fan fiction, and I absolutely love it, and I think it's so important and empowering in a lot of ways for our community. So to have someone who has that respect for fan fiction create an original work, I love when authors tell me that's their career path, like to be from that community and then see a need and try to fill that need. So I gotta ask, are you gonna leverage your Twitter followers in promoting this book? Because you absolutely should. Your Twitter is
Of
gold. That's
course.
one way I met you is through your Twitter.
Oh yeah, absolutely, of course. I've been doing it for over a year now since the book was announced. Um, yeah, and I've had such a great response from people, and I get told all the time, like, "Oh, I just pre-ordered your book," or "I've got it on my calendar," and so that's been so incredible to me. And yes, I would be I would be foolish not to try to use the opportunities I have made over the years for my work to market the book. I mean, I'm very lucky in that respect. I know a lot of authors don't have that um, opportunity right away when they have a debut novel.
Well, I think you've earned it. You have said that you've had something interesting to say and proven it to all your followers, and now you have a whole book's worth of things to say. So of course they want to read it.
Crossing my fingers.
It'll be great. It'll be great. So, are you releasing just on Amazon or are you going wide?
So Bella Books does print and e-books, and what I would well, and we also do distribute on Amazon. So you can find Savor the Moment. You can pre-order it now on Amazon, but you can also pre-order it as I think as of the 1st of March. You should be able to pre-order on Bella, and when you're with a publisher like that, it's always a better deal for the publisher and the author to buy it directly from the publisher. But certainly, if like Amazon's your jam and that's how you want to go, I'm totally fine with that, and I encourage that. I just want people to read the book and get it however they feel comfortable. But there are options, and I think a lot of people don't realize that when you buy from directly from the publisher, you can get ebooks in the version that you're used to using on your Kindle or your Nook or whatever. It just takes a little bit of a transfer. So I just don't want people to think that the only way you can get an ebook is on Amazon. You can get them directly from publishers too.
I am so glad you said that because it's something that people outside the industry don't always know that a lot of these publishers have these books in all formats available on their websites, and you'll often get a better deal and they get more money for each sale if Amazon
Yes.
doesn't take their cut. As a debut author yourself, but someone who is widely published in other venues, what advice do you have for people who are interested in publishing a book? What are you learning through this process? What has worked for you so far?
that writing a book is really hard. It's I am used to the world of fast-paced entertainment news and thought pieces. I am used to, 1,000 words, 2,000 words, listicles, things like that, things that come from you in a short burst of adrenaline and energy. And a book is a very time consuming and then time sensitive project. It was incredibly stressful at times, but it was also really cool when suddenly you came up with something completely new. And I have to thank my editor, Anne Roberts, who is one of the greats in lesbian fiction.
She really is.
She really is. She was a wonderful editor to me, and I took her advice pretty much at every turn because I know that she has done this so many times. And I would say, lean on your editor when you are struggling, but also don't be afraid to say, hey, this is a piece that really means a lot to me. I'd like to keep it in. And we had those conversations, and she was always very flexible about that. But having somebody who has the experience that she does and the knowledge was a godsend. I so appreciative.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it. You got to find a really great and supportive editor, and then do what they say. And if you have to cry about it, but do what they say.
Right? Yeah, because they will want to cut some of your favorite things. And as much as it hurts, you kind of realize that they're right.
I've always had that experience, even though it's painful in the moment. When you go back, you're like, this really works better this way.
Yeah, because you're so connected to that story in such an emotional way that sometimes you just can't see it straight.
Well, your novel doesn't sound very straight to me, but I totally get what you're saying. I mean, what's the point of being queer if you can't make gay puns? Sorry, just
Right,
saying.
right. And I there's a lot of sexy times in the book, and a lot of laughs, and some serious moments that I think I try to reflect what a real relationship would feel like, and falling in love and dealing with stuff that we all have to deal with. And um I'm really excited. Like I'm kind of anxious. I wake up in the cold sweat sometimes at night because the book comes out in like a month. But I'm so blessed to have so many really supportive, amazing people around me.
Well, I, for one, am really, really excited to read this book and to see it come out into the world and give our community a new story because we need them so badly. So, thank you so much for writing it, for being on the show, for sharing some of your interesting way into this field with us, and just talking to me about it. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Rae. I'm so honored to be. This is the first interview I've given about Savor, and so I'm so I'm so geeked about it.
You should feel proud. You should feel geeked about it. It's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Lesbian Talk Shows for Love and Money with Rae D. Magden and our special guest, Dana Piccoli, and her new release coming out on March 14th through Bella Books, Savor the Moment. If you want to check out the book, I will add all the links in the show notes. Maybe consider buying it from Bella if you want to give the publishers and the writer an extra cut. If you want to continue the conversation, please go to the Lesbian Talk Show's Facebook group where you can engage with our other users. Or check out the Lesbian Talk Show's Patreon where you can hear exclusive clips not found anywhere else. Thank you and have a wonderful 2 weeks.